Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and around the verse today we got our first look at a new ship coming to Star Citizen called the Crusader Industries Hercules Starlifter. Now, one thing I really like about this is the fact that it's another ship from a different manufacturer. And, Crusader today, we only really have the Starliner today. So getting another ship within that line is going to be really nice to see, and the design is really cool. For those of you that are wondering right off the bat, we do not have prices yet. The concept sale is starting on May 11th, though we are more than likely going to see a war bond sale come up before that. The ship is going to be pretty big. It's going to be about 100 meters long. It's about 17 meters wide. It's really featuring some VTOLs on it that are going to be a big piece of the overall design, and a lot of that design is also going to be kind of borrowing from the Starliner in a way. And you can see some similarities there for sure. But the VTOLs are also going to help with the purpose of this ship, which is going to be kind of transporting things to the ground. For example, one of the models is going to be really focused on transporting ground vehicles. It's got enough cargo space to actually carry 2 Nova tanks, which is pretty impressive considering those things are huge. So you can imagine when you start talking about like Cyclones or other things, there's a good amount of space. Most of the guns on this ship, and there are quite a few of them, are going to be situated on the bottom, basically giving you cover fire as you're coming into land. You get 3 different versions. You've got the C2, which is kind of the civilian cargo version, which is really going to have that white, red, and black color scheme to it. It's going to be the full cargo capacity version of this. It's coming with, a ramp at the front and the back. It's got 4 turrets, which is going to include kind of 2 on the neck as well as 2 on the back. And it's really going to be designed to transport as much goods as possible. Now, you're not going to necessarily be required to carry ground vehicles here. If you just are going to be doing some dangerous cargo missions, then bringing this thing along would be a pretty wise decision because it looks like it's pretty well armored and should be able to defend itself relatively well, considering it's all supposed to be kind of military-grade transport. Past that, you've got the true Milspec version, which is the M2, which is going to really be bringing an additional size 3 mount up front. It's mostly the same ship, although what we're expecting to see out of that is getting a little bit more armor on it, for sacrificing a little bit of cargo, kind of like you see with the the Starfarer and the Starfarer Gemini. And then the final version is an A2 gunship, which can really only be described as the ship to bring the pain to ground turrets, or ground targets specifically. What you're getting is 4 additional unmanned turrets, which is kind of a crazy amount. You may think, wow, that's going to be overpowered as hell. But what they're trying to do is really balance that out by keeping most of the weapons on the bottom, saying that this thing is not a dogfighter, and it's not going to be like the Hammerhead where you get all the agility and not agility, but the mobility of the turrets to look around in a lot of different directions. This is really designed to be more of that, I'm going to pound the hell out of the ground, because in addition to those additional turrets, what you're actually getting is half of the cargo space, but you have the option to carry 4 massive bombs on there, which should be really interesting, blowing people's outposts up if you need to, or some kind of different modular bomb options, which I like to kind of think is going to be like carpet bombing options, as well as some of those mounts actually having size 5 guns, where most of the other variants are going to end up having size 3s and 4s on them. It's pretty crazy to think about. And, you kind of think about how this thing could, kind of hover around and take advantage of some of those VTOL thrusters to really get in good positions to where you can end up just laying a lot of fire down. You're probably still going to want to bring fighter coverage in this, but we'll just have to kind of see how it all, is designed later when we get more information. As far as the interior of the ship, it's designed to really take you in. You've got a ramp on the front and the back. You can then get into the cargo area. You've got a lift that's supposed to take you up into the habitation area where you can then get into the bridge. From there, you can assume that you're going to have walkways to the turrets. You're also going to have the remote-controlled turret stations as well. And the interior is expected to be a little bit different. When you start talking about like gunship and cargo versions, it's going to kind of vary a little bit there. Overall, I'm excited to continue to get more information on this ship because I think it's kind of a different role than we've really seen. I mean, you can look at it and say, okay, it's a cargo transport, but we don't really have anything that's in the business of moving big ground vehicles today. And having a ramp on the front and back is a nice touch in order to really offload some of these bigger vehicles, especially when you consider things like the Ursa and the Cyclone are even going to be a little bit challenging to transport. We didn't really have anything that we knew of that was going to be a perfect option for carrying something like a Nova tank around. And then, all of a sudden I've had people asking me a long time if bombing is going to be a possibility. And I said, hell, I don't really know. You may just use like targeted things like a torpedo or something anyways in atmosphere. This kind of changed the approach there and the gameplay that we may see as a result. So, like I said, this is just kind of your first what is this ship. As soon as we start getting more information on it, I'm going to cover the heck out of it. I think it's really interesting. I think it's also worth noting that I'll make sure to have a should you buy video coming up on this as soon as possible, which is obviously probably going to be next week at this point, considering we're not expecting to see a concept sale until the 11th, which is going to be next Friday, but chances are we'll see something next Thursday or maybe even before that. As far as price goes on this, man, I could see it go in a lot of different directions. I wouldn't expect it to be anything under $200, so I'm expecting it to probably be maybe $200 for the C2, maybe $240 for the M2, maybe $300 for the A2. I don't know. It may be even more than that. Maybe they surprise us and go a little bit less. But based on the pricing that we know for the Starliner, I think those prices are even quite a bit lower than what I'm expecting to see, because we may see 400 plus. But again, it's kind of hard to tell what it's actually going to bring, so we'll just stay tuned and, really update you whenever we can. So that's basically all we know right now. If you guys have questions on any of this, please let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned for a lot more coming soon. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care.